So from a sales and marketing standpoint, I still hold my fundamental philosophy the same, which is if you take care of the customers, truly take care of them, not just say it, but truly build a customer-centric organization, the sales will take care of themselves. And that is to say that your customers will become your best sales force. They will come back to you and be repeat customers. They will refer you customers. And if those people ever leave and go to other businesses, they'll include you in that as well. And so I think having a traditional sales force is very costly. It's every door, every floor, knock on everything. That is not going to be our model. It historically has not been, and I don't think it'll be that again in the future. So where we're trying to go is we're trying to find the right customers. And our niche, what we figured is our personal niche, is companies that are between 20 to 200 users with multi-locations or the need to support at-home or remote workers. That's a perfect niche. Your small customers, your small business customers, I'd say less than 10 extensions, 10 seats, 10 employees. There's going to be a lot of web-based hosted VoIP providers out there. The customer's going to be able to find them on the web. They're going to be able to sign up. They're going to FedEx some phones. There's going to be very little touch. It's going to be very, very minimal touch. It'll be almost all web-based. The phones will come activated. The customer will use a web interface and set up their own auto attendants and those types of things. The type of customers we're going after are the kinds that are going to see value in us coming in and learning their business and understanding how their business operates and be able to take our 12 years of experience and understanding how can we tailor the phone system and the phone solution to best fit with that business, and maybe how do we change some things up and do things differently? How do we do it better? Better, faster, cheaper, more efficiently. So that's where our value will come in helping them figure out the call routing, the auto attendants, the structure, how to read the reports, what to do with that data, that stuff is even available. And so that's the value we're going to bring in as a consulting group, especially in that group of 20 to 200, because that's going to be the size customer that may have an IT person, but is not going to be big enough to have a telecom manager on staff. So once again, we go back to becoming a trusted business advisor, a consultant, and in essence, we're an outsourced telecom manager. They don't have to pay for us. They don't have to pay for our office space, they don't have to pay for our health insurance, don't have to pay for our overhead. We're there on an as-needed basis, and it's bundled in the monthly cost.
Are you going to be your own first salesperson to get the sales going?
I've already been our own first salesperson. We have about a dozen customers on the platform in a beta mode. We've learned stuff from all of them. We've not had any disasters, but we've learned a lot on how that works. We're partnering with a very traditional interconnect company who's going to share about half of our office building space here where we own. They have an existing base of somewhere between 3,000 to 10,000 customers, business customers in this area in northern Colorado. And we're essentially going to leverage their sales force who's used to selling traditional premise-based systems, but are now running up against more and more challenges from customers saying, I've heard about this hosted thing. Right. And this is another feather in their quiver that they can offer as our hosted solution. So we'll probably continue to build our own internal sales force fairly small, but also work with a variety of sub-agents that are very niche-oriented and see our product as the right fit. And there's good mind share there. We want to come where we can bring value. There's going to be no way we can compete in the consumer-based VoIP market. It's going to be such a cheap product. It's going to become a commodity. And if people want to just know what do you charge per port, what features does that include, and they totally make their decision based on price, it's never been the right customer for us. We need customers who want the value that an experienced consultant brings to the table, and our business model brings an alignment of interest. What's good for them is good for us.
Do you see yourself as making sales across the country, or will you start here in the local Denver metro area?
Great question. We want to be a nationwide company, and one of the reasons that we partnered with Freedom Voice Systems in California is because they're interconnection agreements with Level 3 and Verizon. What that means is that they're basically on the VoIP backbone of these carriers who have multiple central offices and POPs, points of presence throughout the country. Approximately 3,800 central offices we have local DID phone numbers in. And because it's on a nationwide VoIP network from one of the top providers, there's no long distance charges involved. And what that means is if we have a customer, for example, one of our beta customers working with now is a painting company. They just happen to be based in northern Colorado right now, but they want to compete with Certa Pro painters and College Pro painters. And in essence, they want to do a franchising model across the country. So their next expansion is into the Denver market, then Atlanta, then LA, then St. Louis. So what we've been able to do, because of the partnership with Freedom Voice and the connectivity all across the country, is secure them in advance phone numbers in all these different markets. So they do a ton of advertising, traditional advertising, so bus benches, sides of buses, yellow pages. They have what they call the sign shakers, the guys in the corner that do the dancing. It's wildly successful. A bunch of Valpac coupons, mailings, direct mail, that type of thing. But they don't want the franchisee in that market to then get burdened with having to take those phone calls and schedule the estimates. So they've created some proprietary software that does scheduling. So for example, when the franchisee in Atlanta comes on board, they'll be able to advertise an Atlanta phone number. But those calls through the voice over IP network will route to their call center here in Northern Colorado on a VoIP phone. That employee could either be sitting in the office or could be at home across the street or across the country, take that phone call and have a set script of how do we set up scheduling and how do we do estimates. They have a proprietary system they can do scheduling and say, Joe in Atlanta is able to come see you tomorrow between 12 and 2, or he can see you on Monday between 1 and 5. What time do you want? Book it right there. It goes to an email to Joe, and he doesn't have to deal with fielding all those phone calls. And because we've got local phone numbers in 3,800 markets across the country, I mean, think of the possibilities of that for any business application. Think of it. You have a law firm that wants to expand somewhere and have a presence in another market. Any kind of a company, a manufacturing company, a sales company. You can set it so that when phone calls go out, they actually show up as coming from that local phone number. So in the old days, we all used to use market expansion lines. But we couldn't generally not show that phone number for outbound phone calls, and it became very expensive from a long distance standpoint coming in. Well, we've now taken that challenge off the table, and now basically 98% of the populated U.S. we have phone numbers for. So lots of different applications out there, and that's really where the consulting role comes in for PCG, is to sit down with the customers and find out what their growth plans are, what is their objective. If this technology was available, how would they leverage that in their business? And so that's the value that we bring to the table, is our expertise in trying to find them the right solution and help truly be a trusted business advisor and a consultant and not a stereotypical salesperson.
Do you have a quota or a vision for 12 months or 24 months, how many new business customers you'll have?
With hosted voice over IP, our goal for 12 months is to turn up 1,000 seats.
And then 24 months?
Let's get through 12 first. We'll see where it goes. You know what? We'll probably have an exponential growth. The technology is still advancing a little bit. It's getting better, faster, cheaper, and customers are just becoming more aware of this. So that learning curve is there. If you think about it, we're in 2009 now. I did my first voice over IP deployment on an Altigen PBX in 1999. So it's been out there for 10 years. But there's still customers that have no clue what VoIP is, let alone hosted VoIP. So it's incumbent on folks like you and I and other telecom agents out there to educate customers. What is VoIP? People have a misconception of VoIP a lot of times. They think it's either like Skype or Vonage, and the quality is not very good. But that's a consumer quality product. In most cases, it's really, really cheap or basically free. And so customers need to know that VoIP is here to stay. It's a solid platform. The technology has been perfected. And if it's implemented right, it will work. It will be good quality, if not better than your regular phone system. And it's got a lot of applications because it removes geography and it removes cost for long distance from the equation. And so if you really think about the business applications of that, there's a lot of opportunities for customers to do things they've never been able to do, and to basically have the features and functionality of a Fortune 500 company and be only a 25-person company.
Now, with 1,000 seats turned up in 12 months, are you going to do all the project management in-house, or will you hire people to do the project management, or is that something that Freedom Voice can do for you?
We'll do the project management ourselves just because we want that control. And so we're fortunate to be able to get some of our band back together again. So some of the same people that I worked with before are going to be coming back and joining us again. Our goal is to launch this new venture August 1st. So we're spending the summer getting all of our infrastructure in place, all of our marketing collateral together, websites built, people hired, the platform, billing, customer service, all that stuff figured out. We've got about a dozen customers on the platform right now. Hopefully August 1st will probably be in the 40 or 50 customer range, and then just grow steadily through there. But the value we bring is project management, is the attention to detail. And for anybody who's dealt with anything with phone system before, it is the lifeblood of a company, and you can't mess that up. And there's an old joke by the IT guy who keeps the email up 90% of the time, keeps his job and gets patted on the back. If you don't get an email for a couple hours, it's really not a big deal. But the phone guy who lets the phone system go down even once gets fired.
Right.
And so we put a lot of, historically we put a lot of infrastructure in place and a lot of planning and processes and procedures to make sure that goes smoothly. I have this little phrase that's called plan the work, work the plan. And so we put a lot of resources in place to make sure that we've got all the phone numbers covered, that we've got everything set up, configured, so that when the actual implementation and the conversion happens, it's a very seamless process. Everybody's been trained, and it works well. I have happy customers. My business is built on repeat customers and referrals and relationships, not upon churning and going on to the next person. So many of the big telecom companies, that salesperson is your best friend until you've signed the contract. Once you've signed the contract, you call them, you get their voicemail. It says, this is so-and-so. If you have a billing question, please call this 800 number. If you have a support question, please call this 800 number. We don't do that. We build a trusted business advisor position and relationship with our customers. We're a consultant. We basically do what an outsourced telecom manager does if they had one on staff.
And then my last question, this hosted VoIP service, it'll be white labeled PCG?
We have different options. Right now it's going to be PCG Telecom powered by Freedom Voice. We're exploring a lot of different platforms out there, and we want to find ultimately what's best for our customers, and that's why we're partnering with some traditional interconnects. We're also working with some other platform providers. This is our preferred solution, and what we feel is going to be the best fit for your bell curve for the vast majority, 90% of our existing consulting customer base. The Freedom Voice solution is going to be the best solution for them. But as time goes on, we'll continue to work with them. They're great guys, but we'll also keep in tune with what's out there in the market, and we will ultimately find what's best for our customers. That's what we do, and that's how we get value, and that's how we've been doing this for 12 years.
Well, great. Braun, we really appreciate you taking the time to talk to the audience. Do you mind if we follow up with you every 30 or 60 days to see how it's going?
We'd love to. It'd be like a reality TV for the telecom business.
Great. Anything else you want to share with the audience?
Just how happy I am to be back in this business. It's funny, I had a lot of different opportunities to do things outside of telecom, and it's addicting. You get into it, it gets in your bloodstream. The folks are great. I went to the Channel Partners Conference in March, which was my first time there in over 5 years. I was amazed at how many people I saw there that I knew from back and before, and it was like no time had ever passed. So we've got a great industry. We have great opportunities. I think to survive in this business going forward, we all need to be very entrepreneurial. We really need to listen to the needs of our clients, and the people that are not doing that and doing the same old stuff, the same old way they've always done it and aren't willing to change, their days are numbered in this business. They're very sharp, very smart people who are very creative, who are going to be out there going after your customers. And I really think that the days of the sales forces doing knocking on every door, every floor, and being really aggressive, I think those days are limited. I think customers are trying to do more with less. They don't have the time to sit down in front of all those presentations. They're not technical. The industry becomes more and more complex every day. We used to have simple switch long distance. It was that simple. Right. Now look at everything that we've got. And so customers are more and more going to rely on independent, consultant-based people that they trust. And so for those of us who build up relationships with customers, that's going to be the key to surviving, and that's going to be the niche for the next few years.
Thanks for your time, Braun.
Thanks for having me.
Great.